10-year anniversary of September 11th is just 18 days away, but the developers of the mosque won't give up their fight to build it at ground zero. New York City firefighters and 9/11 family members are now protesting, demanding that no taxpayer money go to the financing of that mosque. Here's what one firefighter had to say.
I don't want my tax dollars spent to support this mosque, and we should all be prepared to let our elected officials have a prepared answer for them when they come back and request this money again.
The mosque developers see the emotions their plan is raising. Why won't they just move that mosque to a different location? Let's bring it out now. Joy, just move the mosque. Just move the darn mosque.
This is America. It's a great country, Eric. The fact that we can have this debate, that we can have a discussion about taxpayer dollars, where it belongs, should we be supporting it, religious freedoms, religious views. It's a beautiful day in America. Look, the fact is there are two factions here. There's one that's supportive of development. There's another, that's not. Whether taxpayers' money should be involved is, I mean,
it's one way of putting it.
Well, all right. They're pretty hot about it, and they should be. But I think this is what our Constitution is all about, and this is why we were attacked. Because this country is the greatest country in humanity.
We have over 100 mosques in New York City, Joe. You know this has nothing to do with freedom of expression, freedom of religion, or mutual respect that certainly exists in New York City. Right. You and I both could agree to that. The bottom line is this is about sense and sensibility. It makes no sense, and there's no sensibility in doing this to the 9/11 victims, both the families and the first responders, so close to the 10th anniversary when you could easily move it and get the same result. And you know who you got to thank, though? Let me tell you. There was one local businessman named Bob Turner, who's now running for Congress in the Wiener seat, who actually blew the whistle on this. This almost went through these taxpayer
well, I'm not so sure about that. Tony, I think we keep a pretty close eye on what's going down there.
No, but I'm telling you, Eric, it could have happened.
Congressman, I was there. I saw the second plane run into the second tower. I saw people jumping out of the windows. I lost 16 good friends in that attack, and there were also bones and landing gear on the roof of the location that they want to build a mosque. Sir, are there no grounds to call this a burial ground, a cemetery, so that this doesn't get the constitutional rights that Joey so eloquently laid out earlier?
Right, and we've had people in New York who have said in the city government, other governments saying, well, government shouldn't have no say in this. There's freedom. Well, government has say all the time. You have zoning ordinances where a local government says, it's just not appropriate to have a religious institution here, a business here. What was wrong with zoning an area immediately around that hallowed ground? And I came up shortly after it happened and just was moved to tears like the people around me. Why not have an area around where the city says, you know what, this is just not appropriate for an institution that may appear to be gloating over what occurred.
And that is a good point, Congressman.
They can do that.
Joey, what about this? I mean, there's nowhere in the Constitution that says you can't build a house. But there are a lot of zoning regulations that say you can't build a house in the middle of this street. I mean, why not make this the same sort of zoning restriction?
Eric, I think it's a wonderful point. Congressman, it's a wonderful point. But is there any zoning regulation that would otherwise prohibit the mosque from being there?
What if it causes a lot of problems?
But
what if there are going to be protests and it'll block that part of Lower Manhattan?
Well, that's why we have not only zoning ordinances, but if there's pedestrian traffic that's there, we could, certainly have the police that deal with this, that move people about. And, but the fact is it's zoned for this particular purpose. It's not violating any laws.
We're going to have to leave it there. We have a very, very special segment coming up. Congressman, hang in there. We have something really cool to do right after the break. He was the world's best-dressed dictator, the many moods and fashions. Congressman, I'm in favor of freezing Gaddafi's assets right here in the U.S., even freezing more money than we've already spent, because there are a lot of issues going forward. Who's going to police the place? I'm sure they're going to need money and ask America for a check here and there, billions of dollars in aid and so forth. Why don't we just use Gaddafi's money that we have sitting in our banks?
Well, it ought to be frozen. It ought to be used to help make the country better. But the thing is, people need to understand NATO is 65% American military. We're most of NATO. So if NATO does anything, we've done it. And what I think is serious as this situation is, it reminds me of what this administration's reaction is, a bit like the doorbell. So he runs up the stairs, grabs him, lifts him up, lets him push the doorbell, and then says, now what? And the little boy says, now we run. We jump into things not knowing who we're helping, not knowing what their goal is, and not knowing that we're going to be in bigger trouble when it's over. The Muslim Brotherhood, number one goal is to make the world compliant to Sharia law. That means freedom for them means freedom to worship Islamic under Islamic law.
Hang in
that
there,
is not good for the rest of the world and the freedoms we hold dear.
Hang on, sir. Go ahead, Joey.
So I just want to understand,
we should be concerned about that, no?
I think there's reason to be concerned, but I don't share the congressman's pessimism about the issue. I think, first of all, I think it's a great day for America. I think it's a wonderful day for Libya.
When
you oppress people, well, I am.
Are you sure?
Now, let's analyze Gaddafi, okay? If you look at Gaddafi, a dictator, depressing people, horrific violence, atrocities against people, how could it get any worse than that?
How?
I think the point is,
how?
And then if you say, yeah, how? And then if you talk about, as the congressman's suggesting, we have the Brotherhood now here, and it's going to be far worse than it was before, and this is not a significant development which stabilizes the region. I think that's wrong.
Joe, good intentions in American foreign policy in the past, particularly in this region of the world, have blown up in our face. We need to look no further than Iran in the 1970s, when we took the Shah out because he became indefensible, and we got the Ayatollah in, not realizing the depth and profound nature of his fundamentalism, and that has been an enemy we've been fighting for a long time.
But
based on your doctrine, hold on one second, Joe.
There's a difference here, though. Obama did not do this. The people did this. Obama did not go there and say we're going to overthrow this government. The Iranian Revolution was a people's revolution, but that's my point. You're basing this on human rights and atrocities against people. Well, what about Assad in Syria? We were late on that. What about Mahmoud Ahmadinejad in Iran today? We didn't back those guys up when they stood up. But hold on. We have to be clear on the argument. Is the argument that Obama was too forceful here and he was involved? Or is the argument that he's not involved enough? We can't have it both ways.
It's not about Obama.
Say Obama. You're the first person to utter Obama.
He talked about this administration. He talked about running up to the doorbell as a priest and saying, what do we do now? Who oversees the administration?
Post-Gaddafi, making sure that the Obama administration or we're involved in the rebuilding of Libya in the right way. Congressman, am I mistaken?
Eric, yes, and I think what we're hearing is echoes of President Carter welcoming the Ayatollah Khomeini back to Iran as a man of peace. And now they're the biggest threat to freedom and to liberty in the world. And I'm afraid we're seeing some of the same things. Hey, this is a great day. Well, it may be a terrible day.
I see now what the Republican strategy is going to be, Congressman. I think the Republican strategy is going to be tie everything Obama to Carter. You've mentioned Carter twice now in your discussions. How now Carter's involved with this? I have no idea.
Keep it on Libya, you guys. Can we keep it on
when we discuss foreign matters, there has to be some level of effort to not think of this just through the prism of Republican and Democrat. Many administrations, from Nixon to Carter to Reagan to Bush to Clinton to the other Bush and this guy, have all made the same mistake in the Middle East. The bottom line, Joe, is be careful what you ask for. You just might get it.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. We're going to leave it on that comment. Coming up, should the developers of the Ground Zero Mosque get rebels are reportedly looting Gaddafi's compound? We wondered if some of them are going to raid his closet. The loony from Libya has been a fashion cartoon treating us to one look after the other over the years. Take a look at some of these outfits. He looks like a stuffed couch in some of them. Okay, let's go through these. Do we have the pictures? Here he is. Oh, you guys are killing me. You guys are killing me. Here we go. We call this one, Love This Shiny Material. Next, we call this one, Luggage Got Lost, Took the Upholstery from the Hotel. We call this one, The High Priest. How about the next one? We call this Long Walks on the Beach. How romantic. How about this one? The only thing missing are the aviators. Next one, Bad Hair Day. Next one, Why So Blue? Or did you borrow that from a couple of the anchors on the Fox Business Network? Call this one Just Chillin'. And how about this one? Animal prints are definitely in this season. Is this my Halloween costume? And how about this one? Slim Fast Much? And they go on and on and on. The man, Joey, dresses almost as good as you.
Not even close, Gaddafi. Listen, as I said before, it's a great day for America. It's a greater day for Libya. It's all good.
The Charlie Sheen of the Arab world.
Charlie Sheen of the Arab world.
I'll tell you, if I check Joe's closets, I know some of those will be hanging up there.
Nice. Congressman Gohmert, I'm guessing you don't have any of these looks, do you, sir?
Well, when I look at the clothes that the man's wearing, the thing that jumps to my mind now, there's a man who never worries about a re-election.
That's exactly right. Been in power for 40 years, amasses $200 billion, I guess not. That's it for Follow the Money. I want to thank tonight's panel, Joey Jackson, Tony Sagan, Representative Louis Gohmert. Good night, everybody. By the way, is that called